Look at this bun on screen. Standard commercial hamburger bun, sesame seeds across the top. You have seen a million of these. Nothing interesting, right? Wrong. This bun broke a food safety law in the most absurd way possible. April 2021, Congress passes the FASTER Act. Senate, unanimous. House, 415 to 11, about as close to a no-brainer as Washington gets. The idea: add sesame to the list of major food allergens so companies have to clearly label it. 1.6 million Americans with sesame allergies, that is more people than live in Philadelphia, would finally know what is safe to eat just by reading the package. Simple, clean. Everyone felt great about it, and food companies responded by adding sesame to everything. I know. Say it with me right now. We passed a law to protect people from sesame, and bakeries started putting sesame into bread that never had it before. Sounds like an Onion article, but it happened, and it is still happening right now in every grocery store and fast food chain in this country. Let me back up. The FASTER Act gets signed September 2021. Sesame becomes the 9th major allergen tracked by the FDA. Companies get a year and a half to update their labels. That was the whole plan. For families navigating sesame allergies at every single meal, roughly 1 in 200 people, about the population of Dallas, this was supposed to be the moment their lives got easier. You pick up a loaf of bread, you scan the label, and you know. Finally, a law that actually helps real people. Now the manufacturer's side. I hate that I am about to explain this, but you need to understand why it happened. Because the people who made this decision were not cartoon villains. They were accountants and lawyers at baking conglomerates. If your product might pick up trace sesame from shared equipment, a mixer line that handled seeded buns in the morning, a conveyor that touched sesame dust, and someone with an allergy has a reaction, you are looking at a full recall, lawsuits, destroyed inventory, national bad press. Cleaning production lines to sesame-free standards? Brutally expensive. One person described it like this: imagine cleaning glitter after a child exploded it across your house. No amount of vacuuming gets it all. You sweep, mop, sticky roller, and 3 days later there it is, catching the light under the baseboard. That is sesame on commercial equipment, but there is a cheaper path. Just add a tiny bit of sesame flour to everything you make, label it. You are in full compliance. You will never be sued for cross-contamination. Perfect liability protection in one ingredient swap. Problem solved, except for the 1.6 million people who can suddenly eat almost nothing from a bakery aisle. Here is what makes it worse. They are not adding whole seeds you can pick off. Sesame flour, ground into a fine powder. A bun with it and a bun without are visually identical. The allergic person cannot tell by looking. They have to trust a label that now says the allergen is in everything. Imagine being a parent of a kid with a sesame allergy. You have spent years memorizing which brands are safe, which restaurants you can trust, which buns your child can eat, and then, overnight, without any announcement, dozens of previously safe products now contain the exact ingredient your child is allergic to. The label still tells you the truth, but the truth is now that you cannot have any of it, and that is where you would think the story plateaus. Just a cold cost-benefit calculation, right? Companies protecting their precious bottom line. But then you zoom in on what that calculation actually looks like for one human being, and that is where it gets ugly. Let me tell you about Karen Weese, reporter at the Washington Post, mom of a kid with a sesame allergy. April 2023, on a road trip, pulls into Chick-fil-A familiar, done it 100 times. She opens the app, clicks the white bun, always been safe for her kid, and the app warns her. The white bun contains sesame, multigrain brioche bun contains sesame, not cross-contamination. Sesame as a listed ingredient, a previously safe food, made dangerous with zero warning, no recall, no press release, no sign on the door, just a quiet ingredient swap she almost missed while ordering lunch for her son. Chick-fil-A's official response: our suppliers cannot guarantee the lines are sesame-free, even after intensified cleaning, so instead of figuring out the cleaning, they added sesame to every bun. Chick-fil-A was not alone. Olive Garden's breadsticks, those unlimited breadsticks, the whole reason some people drive across town for dinner, they got the sesame treatment too. Same equation at a dozen other chains. Add sesame, avoid lawsuits, move on. Do not think about the allergic customer. Think about the liability. Robert Earl at FAIR, Food Allergy Research and Education, the biggest allergy advocacy group in the country. He has been in this field for 25 years. He He told FoodFix he has never seen an entire industry sector intentionally add a food allergen in 25 years, never. He called it almost like deliberate poisoning, and this is where it gets properly stupid. Canada has required sesame labeling since 1999, the European Union too. Bakeries in Toronto and London clean their lines just fine. If a company runs a bakery in Toronto handling sesame without contaminating everything, they can do the same 287 miles south in Toledo. Equipment, ingredients, skill set, all identical. The difference is not that cleaning is impossible. Adding sesame is cheaper, simpler on the spreadsheet. American companies chose the spreadsheet. The American Bakers Association, the biggest trade group for commercial bakeries, initially said compliance would not be a problem. July 2021, their VP went on a podcast. "We can do this, we have the experience, it will be fine." Fast forward 2 years. That same organization sends Congress a 7-page letter arguing that adding sesame is the only way to protect consumer safety. A complete reversal. Jason Linday of FAIR called it ludicrous and unbelievable. Wait, let me make sure I have that right. The same people who said we have this handled in 2021 were, by 2023, telling Congress that the only safe option was to put the thing people are allergic to into every bun in America. That is not a pivot, that is a full backflip. FDA Commissioner Robert Califf publicly acknowledged the disaster. "I don't think anyone envisioned there being a decrease in safe products for sesame allergic consumers." The FDA's position: "We do not support this practice. It is technically legal, we are not stepping in." One chain broke ranks. Olive Garden, after getting hammered in the press, hearing directly from allergic customers, switched suppliers, brought back sesame-free breadsticks. FAIR publicly thanked them, the rare exception. Everyone else is still adding sesame. Grocery aisles are narrower for 1.6 million people than before the law passed. Senator Chris Murphy, the FASTER Act's key sponsor, put it bluntly: "We passed legislation with overwhelming bipartisan support to make the world safer for kids with allergies. Instead, this law has made the world more dangerous for thousands of families. Look at that bun one more time. Nothing about it looks different. Sesame flour is invisible. The label still tells the truth. The truth just says you cannot eat anything in this aisle."